Good afternoon. Yes, it is afternoon. Here we are. My goodness. Thursday already. I'd like to talk this afternoon about bonding with stepchildren and your relationship with them or your perceived relationship. It's become quite apparent to me that there are many of you who have got stepchildren with your Filipina, that you travel a fairly difficult road. It's a difficult journey because on one hand, you know what it's like, often many of you, to be a parent. You know that parenting is not just being a parent, it's working as a team, two of you. And for us, it comes quite natural. No matter who you're with, even in the West, there's a fairly good understanding from the former partner that the new partner may well have a interaction with what is then your new stepchildren. And the problem is that Filipinos find it very hard, I'll say, to delegate rather than to share. I don't think they see it in the terminology of sharing the responsibility of being a parent. But a number of you have made comments, either in comment or in email, about being in a relationship with someone who has children from another parent who's no longer there. And it is a difficult path because so often it involves things like planning, expectation, and of course discipline. And part of the expectation is the discipline part. I'm not talking about whacking them with the old belt, the old prehistoric ways of handling children, but I'm talking about the point that so many parents you see here soft pedaling their children, fearful that they'll upset them, fearful that they'll come across as tyrants to their children. And when a foreigner comes into the play and takes on the role of being a father to them, maybe simply because the father's not known to them, or maybe the father just hasn't had an interaction over a long period of time with them, as a father would. But you step into the limelight, so to speak. You're now partner of their mother. And with that comes, I believe, should be an understanding by the Filipina that you're being asked to be the breadwinner. Some of you have suggested that when the Filipina has a job, that you meet that same amount to add to the community, or should I say to the table. In other words, if she earns $20,000 a month, you contribute $20,000 a month, hence double the amount in the income. I think that's quite a good measure of way things should be, because if they were happy with life at 20, to suddenly find it's doubled, it's like having a double with a pay rise. And therefore, you should be able to still have a comfortable and happy life together. And it will also enable you to know that you've got more resources behind you from what you've saved, not paying more than double. I know that's only a rule of thumb, but with it comes the fact that you're stepping into the position, the role of being the father. And therefore you'll be expected to come up with the costs of tuition, uniforms, outings, books and pencils and rubbers. And you'll do that for, in many cases, for 5 or 8 years at least. And there should be an understanding by your Filipino that in response to that, in return for that, you do have a moral right to say what is happening, first of all, in the home, and secondly, in terms of being able to plan the future of their son or daughter. I mean, if the family have always thought they'd like their son to be a policeman or the daughter to be a nurse, just as an example, then having had that discussion with them, maybe thinking, but your daughter or your son is brainier than that, meaning that you can maybe guide them into the thought of doing more of a profession, becoming a dentist or a doctor or a lawyer. And the difference is that you'll be able to ensure, as long as they study well, for that to be achieved. And the net result will be not only pride for the rest of the family, but also for yourself as joint parents. Because it's not enough just to say, share my bed, be my breadwinner, be my rock, pay my bills. It's about becoming a complete family. And of course, there comes also the conundrum when, sadly, some of you, their relationships over a long period of time break down. And you have to ask yourself, are you the kind of person that will easily accept that as a result of that, you no longer now will be in contact with those children, your stepchildren? Okay, you've fallen out with the mother, but would the mother think it fair that her own children even write you off as if you never existed? And I think in many cases, if they're being honest, they would see the relationship themselves that has formed between their former partner and their children. And in the long run, it's better to allow it to either die natural or to just allow it to flow. And I'd say that because we, as parents, must look at the total effect we have on children, on young people growing up. And many of us can look in the West for reasons why people have gone off the rails, often because of marriage breakup, children feeling that they take the blame of the parents breaking up. And you don't want that to be a burden that your stepchildren fall back into. And therefore, I think it is important that we think about and consider the situation. I've always, with my own children, having had 3 marriages, or 2 and a bit, never to say things bad about the mother. I don't think it works in the long run to your advantage, and also, more importantly, to the well-being of the children, the ones left behind who had a relationship, who suddenly feel, in a way, grieving that that person is gone now. And as much as the mother might hate your guts, it's important that the children don't have their lives tarnished by the thoughts of an angry or revengeful mother. So that's my thought for today. I don't know what you think about it. Be interesting to hear what you have to say, as long as you keep it respectful. And it's certainly not a reflection personally on an invitation for you to have a go at me. So you have a lovely day, and we'll catch you later. Bye now.